Called it! Yeah! I'm just
Nicely done.
fist pumping right now.
Nicely done. So boss.
But I mean, like, this is a strategy I actually heard from Jad, who now works for Riot Games. Used to be a jungler on Rock Solid / Dignitas. If something is strong against you, like whatever beats you, just ban it. Ban it the next game. It really works, and teams don't do this. They get very caught up. I don't want to say in themselves, but in their beliefs. And they're like, well, all right, that Vladimir did really well, but it's probably because, you know, we made mistakes, not because he did really, like, he was just effective. So I'm glad they're banning like that. I'm glad they're, you know, just getting rid of that thing that really kind of murdered them.
And I wonder if they're going to ban Cassidy now once again. You know, we see Nautilus removed from the previous game. We've seen Cassidy removed from the previous game. So, you know, Twisted Fate is gone. We know Peke likes to play TF. We know he's a very strong TF player. But it's now up to M5 to see who they want to remove. And Urgot Nocturne, although Shen is available. So this is now the talk. I've seen Fnatic playing Shen once or twice. I've in fact seen Cyanide playing Shen in the jungle. And they remove Karthus instead. So what is Fnatic going to do? 1 minute to pick. You know, Shen is there, Ari is there, Morgana is there. So is Soraka, in fact. And it looks like it is going to be Shen.
Karthus was actually banned that last game by Fnatic, so Moscow 5. They're really scared of Karthus. He is an incredibly tough champion to play against. He changes the game with his presence. He all of a sudden just, you know, is an executioner across all lanes, which, you know, is not very fun to play against by any sort of means or manner. Now, what did they pick now? They have the option to go for an aggressive AoE style composition still, but Karthus is banned, Vladimir is banned, two of the best AoEers in the game, gone. So probably not going to go with something like that. They want to pick a very Moscow 5 style. They could go for some aggressive counter jungling, which if that is Jungle Shen, which I do not know actually how much Soaz plays Shen. I know he plays an okay amount, but if he's tournament confident with him, I do not know that for sure. The Lee Sin, I like that. Go into their old roots, bring out the Blind Monk to aggressively gank and if necessary counter jungle and Nunu. Huh. Support Nunu, not very common for first pick. I don't think they're expecting an Ezreal would be the scary character to see on the enemy team. Ezreal more or less nullifying Nunu actually.
In what sense? Being able to blink away from the snowball?
Ezreal can just kind of ignore everything Nunu does. So the attack speed debuff Nunu applies is not that strong early on. So, you know, Ezreal's attack speed buff will supersede that. Ezreal has his own attack speed debuff, which will actually more or less compare to Nunu's Blood Boil, so that gets nullified. To be able to blink away from his ultimate, I guess Consume is not countered. But everything he does, Ezreal can completely screw with. Also, Ezreal having his Q can ignore the attack speed debuff from Nunu too, because he's not reliant on attack speed.
And looks like we're going to see a potential another Corki once again, coming out from Lamia. Corki Soraka as opposed to... No, it was Corki Soraka last game, wasn't it, as well?
Yes.
So same bot lane. And that can make sense as well. But I wonder who Genja is going to play as his AD carry. We've seen him play some very aggressive champions in terms of pairing up with Nunu. And Ashe Nunu is a pretty good combination. Both got the slow. The attack speed on Ashe helps her out a lot, especially at those lower levels. And the movement speed, also very, very useful. And I love this. Active game was not found bug. Such a pain.
Ashe Nunu, I think, was one of the first times I saw Ashe come back into the scene way back when, sometime, I'm trying to think, in maybe August? A long time ago. But Ashe Nunu, it's very strong, very effective. It's not obviously effective, but once it all adds up, that Blood Boil, its Ashe Kite so well, there's just so much mobility that Nunu combines with Ashe. So that really strong just combination of Blood Boil and kiting potential just is so effective. And Jack's coming out for Gosu Pepper, well, not Gosu Pepper, but for Moscow 5, as well as Kog'Maw. So Nunu, Kog'Maw, kind of the same style, a lot of damage, less kite potential from Kog'Maw, but it's still there. That mobility is amazing on him. And
of course he's got that Void Ooze, which is going to apply as slow as well. So toss that Void Ooze out in conjunction with the Ice Blast from Nunu, then the Blood Boil onto Kog'Maw. Blood Boil plus the Bioarcane Barrage, the range increase, the percentage HP that's going to be chunking off. And I like the pick of Kog'Maw as well, because he's got I don't want to use the word balance, but he's got a mixture of both physical attack damage and magic damage. So yes, you know, Soraka's going to give an MR boost as well as an armor boost to Corki, but it nullifies a smaller percentage of that damage because, of course, the huge Astral Blessing armor will reduce all of your physical damage, which Ashe has no way to get through.
Okay, some amazing picks are about to happen. That is probably going to be a locked in zillion. I was actually thinking about that myself. It is. Okay. So awesome things just happened. All right. The Malphite counter pick from Fnatic is amazing. If you look at the lineup from Moscow 5, they have so much attack speed coming in. They have Lee Sin, Jax, and Kog'Maw, all of them attack speed dependent characters. And Nunu, what does he do? He buffs attack speed. I'm actually not positive about this, so I don't want to say for sure. I do not know if attack speed works like movement speed, where like it will reduce everything. So attack speed buffs your base. Attack or move speed buffs your base. Movement speed debuffs will go ahead and reduce your base and that bonus. So it's debuffs are much more effective in this game. But the fact that they have Malphite means they have this amazing attack speed debuff for 3 members of Moscow 5. But the Zillion comes out, and Zillion, when combined with a team like this, is actually amazing. So one of the problems that Lee Sin and Jax both have is staying on target. They have a very mobile team. They have, the Valkyrie from Corki, Ari, is Ari, and I hate her, but she has an ultimate to stay mobile. Jax will and Lee Sin will just stay on a person. They will not fall off a target because they're going to be moving at 1,000,000 miles per hour. When they do use those blinks, they will not take any time to catch up, and it's going to be an awesome combination. I've seen this before. I do not know how Zillion does against Ari, though. But this was just an awesome combination of just like, all right, Fnatic, we see that they have Moscow, or that they have so much tech. Pick Malphite. And F5 was just like, well, we have a team that would benefit from Zillion. Let's pick them up. So that is awesome.
Now, how does the Zillion versus Ari matchup take place in the middle? I mean,
No, I think it's an Ari. What's the range of Foxfire? That actually matters quite a bit.
and also, just while you're checking that up, I've taken a look at some of the rune pages really, really quickly. Diamond Prox on his Lee Sin opts to go for a 9-21-0, so going more defensive as opposed to offensive, and opting for +8 physical damage and 12 armor penetration. So he's really going for a huge, what's the term I'm looking for? Like an execution type of page, really going for that armor pen for the early aggression. I believe the secondary proc on that resonating strike goes through his physical as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
So
it's all physical damage.
really going for some, really good early game burst, and I like the page. So for everybody out there that wants to know how Diamond Prox plays Lee Sin, 921 and a bit of AD and armor pen.
I believe the armor pen will actually be enough to reduce most jungle creeps to around 0. Not all of them. Some of them will still have more. So he's going to jungle quickly. He's going to be incredibly effective in that jungle. And you're right, he will have terrifying ganks. So that Lee Sin going to be, Lee Sin in the jungle. He's a huge terror early on in the game. He needs to do decently, though. He cannot fall behind. Because if he does fall behind, a Lee Sin that falls behind will just use his resonating strike, latch onto somebody, and probably die before he can do anything.
And keep in mind, though, if he does die, there is a Zillion reincarnation that's waiting for him. So if he wants to use that, something else to touch on, you mentioned the speed buff from Zillion. He's not only going to be able to boost the movement speed of his characters, but think about Jax, the hyper carry that Jax becomes, the hyper carry that Kog'Maw becomes. You kill him, he comes back to life with that ultimate, which I have completely whiffed the name of now. And there we go, the Chrono Shift. And it will bring back that hyper carry, allow them to continue dealing damage, allow them to continue beating away on the Fnatic lineup. So potentially very scary, and if Diamond Prox starts to snowball early on, because Lee Sin is a very hard snowballing character, a potential, rebirth Chrono Shift of Lee Sin is also just as terrifying.
I'm so proud to know a skill name you do not know, by the way.
I completely forgot. It's been months and months. Actually, it's been over a year since I played Zillion, I think. Over a year.
Yeah, Zillion, not too common of a pick. He's actually incredibly fun to play, by the way. You play Zillion, you get to be a huge bully in the mid lane. But there's actually something I didn't point out before. Soraka. There's a Soraka on Fnatic's team, and Soraka with their armor deep or buff is going to be amazing. So a lot of physical damage, a lot of attack speed. Fnatic has like the perfect team for this lineup from M5, but Moscow 5 themselves have a lineup that supplements itself so well that this is going to be awesome. I hope we see a Black Cleaver actually somewhere in this lineup, because a Black Cleaver would just help immensely from the fact that the enemy team could more or less stack armor. Zillion has really good burst, but his sustained damage is not up there. It's a time bomb every 4 seconds, which is really good, but compare that to Ari's sustained damage, which is insane.
So for everybody that is on stream that has just joined us, this is game number 2. You can see the scores up in the top half of your screen. Fnatic are wearing the blue trunks. They have it all to play for now. Lose this and they go out. They do not qualify for IPL5 yet, and they'll have to wait for the IPL qualifier, the third or fourth one that'll be starting in a few weeks' time. And if Moscow 5 qualify or win this match, they then make it into the grand final. And they will face off against Team Megashock for a spot at IPL5. So a lot to play for in studio. Defensive start from these teams. Nobody wants to give up more than they need to. And take a look at Diamond Procs. Cloth armor and 5 pots. So do you think we're going to see a farm till level 6, maybe less low-level ganks, opting to go for the cloth instead of the boots?
No, but he might want to hang around in lane just because none of the lanes are actually that easy to gank. The easiest is going to be Zillion's lane. And it's still Ari. She's still not an easy gank character. He also doesn't have a lot of magic resist himself because of his runes being MR per level, so he's not that effective at ganking in this early part of the game. Probably going to wait till he gets a decent amount, maybe a red buff and a large chunk of HP before he goes out somewhere. It is rare to see a jungler not start with a boots 3 potions though. I'm kind of glad to see that.
Yeah, it is slightly different. It is a little bit of a change. For everybody that's busy looking at the stream right now, the Ari skin, it always reminds me of a cheerleader. I don't know why. I just see like an American football cheerleader in the Ari.
Oh yeah, I kind of see it. Isn't it supposed to be like Japanese schoolgirl Ari or something like that?
Ah, that may explain it. So maybe I'm actually seeing the right thing. So Cyanide starting rates going red. Lee Sin or Diamond Procs rather, starting out rates and going Wolves in fact. So a slightly different build. Or maybe he's going to blue. Actually, so take a look at that. Wolves being picked up by Gosu Pepper and Genja. Diamond Procs has actually taken his Resonating Strike as opposed to his Tempest as his first point. So a slightly different start coming out from Diamond Procs. And is he going to save his Smite? No, he does not, in fact. So uses the Smite to pick up that blue buff.
He now has a point actually in the Tempest, so this is now an aggressive jungling path. He has the potential to gank. Doesn't have the lifesteal from his Iron Will. It's a bit riskier, but at the same time not too important because he will clear raids super quickly once they respawn after red buff is dead.
Now, what about this matchup in the top lane? You've got Jax versus Shen. I feel like it should eventually go in Jax's favor, but the first 4 levels, maybe Shen, if he can put some aggression down?
I'm actually surprised they didn't put Malphite in the top lane because Malphite just shuts down Jax. But Jax versus Shen, you're pretty much right. Yeah. If he can get ahead, Shen can be terrifying, but eventually that sustained damage from Darien is going to be too much. And here comes Malphite trying to actually start that snowball, Cyanide just waiting in those bushes.
He does have the double buff up, so red and blue is going to be moving in. There goes the taunt, very nicely done. The shard comes out. Now the counter-strike is being primed. Manages to land up on Soaz, but Diamond Procs has now jumped forward. Now the counter gank has put pressure back onto Fnatic. And at the end of the day, actually nothing coming of that one. Darien contemplating the recall, but decides to cancel it. And a lot of aggression in top and bottom lane. DPS going all the way around.
Ghostfaber just walking back and forth in the bushes, taking damage. Actually, just aggression across all the lanes. Even mid lane, there are time bombs and orbs of deception hitting people all over the place.
So much damage going down. I'd like to actually see. I'm going to poke my eyes into this mid lane for a little bit because I don't think I've seen a Zillion versus Ari matchup ever. In fact, this is potentially a first for me. Or at least it's the first that I can recall. And now we do see a gank up in this top lane. Ignite goes down into Sao as the Q manages to land, but a flash! Beautifully timed. Really nicely done from Soaz there. Dodges takes the damage from Resonating Strike, but flashes before Tempest can go down. And that slow would have been all that was required to give up first blood.
Had he actually flashed a second later, that he would have actually been followed up by the Resonating Strike. And oh my god, the pressure in the bot lane is just immense from Genja and Gosu Pepper. So I've talked about this matchup before. Corki versus Kog'Maw is actually in Kog'Maw's favor. Kog'Maw, with his long range, can pressure Corki even if he uses anything except rockets. If he uses his phosphorus bomb, if he uses Gatling gun to pressure, he will take more damage in the trade just because Kog'Maw has his Kog'Maw range. But right now, the fact that the lane's starting so effective before Kog'Maw gets that range is actually scary because it means that Corki will just get pressured so much in that bot lane that it's going to be a hard lane for them. And we've seen that Genja can carry. Genja has the potential to do so much as Kog'Maw, as Ashe, and it's terrifying to see him doing well.
Overall, though, the teams are staying pretty much even. They're keeping up on farm. There's been a lot of poke back and forth. While I say that, take a look at the items on Peke. He's picked up a Doran's blade early, Doran's ring early, sorry. The boots and 6
Awesome.
potions. 6 pots.
Zillion harass is more or less unavoidable, which is why he has those potions, because he wants to try and mitigate it as much as possible if he cannot avoid it. As Darren actually gets taunted in the tower at the top lane, Lee Sin comes in and might have actually saved him with that Iron Will. He will go down to about 30-some HP.
35 HP. And what actually happened there? Was that a taunt under the tower?
That was a taunt just at the edge of tower range. Unfortunately, Darren got a bit too overzealous going for that, tower pressure. And Shen's just like, well, if you're going to hang out here, I'll just make the tower attack you too.
But take a look at
as that happened, Diamondprox showed up and used Iron Will to save him from Ignite ticks.
Yeah, I just managed to catch the end of that. As I clicked up to the top, I left-clicked on to Darian's champion and watched his hit points tick down. Well, doesn't the true damage go through that shield, though?
No.
Not. All right, so it's still absorbed. So it was managed to be blocked up by Lee Sin. Very nicely timed there. Gold slightly in favor of Fnatic. We do some aggression on the bottom where Ignite actually goes down from Gosu Pepper, and that felt once again just a little bit of miscommunication. And we've seen it once in the previous game, and now again the Ignite being used. Ooh, Soares does get counter-attacked up, or counter-striked up. Stunned for a couple of seconds, that brief second. But yeah, that Ignite being blown without Genji being arranged, without the DPS from Genji, and it just felt a little bit premature.
Gosu Pepper just kind of does that every now and then. I don't get it. He's just kind of like, I feel that now is the time to ignite Corki, and then he just does it. Whatever it is, it works, and that pressure is also very surprising because it catches people off guard. So it could just be a mind game because you don't expect to get this kill. But as you can see, now Lamia is about half HP. Feliox is low. Feliox has to go back, or at least not get any experience for a decent amount of time.
And the flip side there is, of course, that Corki is going to be able to heal it back up. Yeah, you burn your Ignite, yeah, you put the damage down, but given 30, 40, 50, a minute time, you can see now Lamia's back up to full hit points. He's still got 2 of the 3 potions that he had available. Trying to trade with Genji and coming off second best, exactly like you said, 1v1, just not able to really trade as effectively as he'd like to.
I think, I don't know, Gosu Pepper he's a very odd support. He is non-traditional in every sense. And the amount of wards he buys, and the fact that he doesn't get CS, he is traditional. That is about it. But he's incredibly good at it, and somehow what he does, it works every now and then, even if I don't understand it. I don't need to say this to watch it work.
Well, I suppose it suits the playstyle, doesn't it? It's a very aggressive team. Moscow 5 like to be pushing most of the time. They like to be in your faces quite a lot. And you can see at this game just how much aggression has been placed in every single lane. But no first blood just yet. Level 6 has now been picked up by Genja. They are actually ahead in levels. So how does that do in farm? 64 for Genja to 39 on Lamia. That is a massive advantage at 8 minutes already.
Which is actually impressive given the fact that gold is almost equal. Lamia taking a lot of pressure now.
They've managed to commit to this fight. No ultimate comes up, but Stand United is there. Lamia's going to flash forward. Now Shen's going to be able to lock up Gosu Pepper. This may be first blood. Blood Boil is now on first blood, and it goes to Corki. So that's going to at least balance out that gold difference. But a very, very nice gank. And what I liked seeing from Lamia, in fact, was the Valkyrie forward. Because he was...
actually, Soaz is currently pressuring Genji up in that top lane. I decided, you know what, I do not want this Cogma to live. But unfortunately, the heal is blown at the last second. Sorry about that.
Right, that confused the hell out of me. Top lane, I clicked up top. And then I went, no, but that's not Soaz. And it was actually the bottom lane, wasn't it? Yes, but behind the tower. Right. That was a bit of a brain fart on my part. But yeah, 9 minutes now, Fnatic starting the Dragon. And did you see just how nice that was from Lamia? Valkyrieing forward, pulling Shen with him with that Stand United, trying to line up the taunt. But obviously, Kog'Maw was able to get away, and they ended up just locking up Gosu Pepper instead. So I think you asked it last night, on which side does Shen spawn? I think it's behind the character model.
It is behind. It is behind. Yeah. I was actually watching a game yesterday. I'm like, looking at Shen, it's like, where's he gonna appear? And every time it was consistently behind the character. So, Darren actually stopped from going back by Soaz.
And how is this duel actually gonna go? Because Darren's traded a bit more effectively now. Maybe even thinking about a kill. He does have Ignite available.
So probably not what Soaz wants to do, as he takes even more damage. Darren now completely out of mana though. needs to rely on just auto attacks, which will not net him a kill unless Diamond Proc shows up.
Well, Diamond Prox is going to be moving forward. They don't know Cyanide is there. If Cyanide can get a good unstoppable force, does manage to lock them up, but Diamond Prox is the one with the tire aggro. Takes one more tower hit. Red buff is ticking. Cyanide is not going to keep chasing because he sees Alexich coming up. Alexich is going to be forced to use that Chrono Shift on himself. Down to 25 hit points, in fact. But no kill going off. And, oh, don't you just wish Uri was nearby. If Uri was there, that could have been an easy double, potentially even triple kill. But unfortunately, Peke had been recalled. And now at least that Chrono Shift is on cooldown, but it becomes available very, very quickly, compliments of Rewind. You know, reducing the cooldowns by, I think is it 2 or 10 seconds?
10 seconds.
10 seconds.
One of the longest cooldowns in the game at 172 seconds, which is massive, but of course, every, I think at this point about 12 seconds or so, there will be that rewind button being pressed, and, it comes up that much sooner.
I'd like to see how Diamond Prox, how Alexich actually skills his Zillion, because when I was playing Zillion quite significantly, we do see some aggression for Becky. He did not know Zillion was there. 2 points of that Spirit Rush has been used. I think he just popped the third one. Does end up going down to the auto attack damage, so it's a 1-for-1 trade, but 2 assists on behalf of Moscow 5, so they definitely get the gold advantage out of that one.
And of course, the kill does go to Kog'Maw, which is the person who wants to kill. And already getting kills is nice, but Kog'Maw, man.
Yes.
Kog'Maw.
It's so much DPS. But yeah, what I wanted to quickly say is whether or not he's only going to put that single point into Chrono Shift, or if he's going to put additional ranks. And take a look at that. Oh, pressure. Kog'Maw now being dived on this bottom lane. Lamia forced to recall away. Ignite is going to pick up the kill, but he's just going to use that Ikithian surprise to pick up only one more CS, unfortunately.
So, as that kill goes on to Kog'Maw, another one goes on to Quirky. Without that newness of board, Kog'Maw, it's a 1v2, and he doesn't have the lead he needs to actually win that. Darien actually getting taunted in tower range at top lane, just leap strikes out of there, and so it's going to take a lot of tower pressure now that the Shadow Dash is on cooldown. And here comes Malphite, and once again, here comes Alexich. They're going to meet in the brush, actually.
And Chrono Shift is available. Now Cyanide's going to turn his attention. He's going to see, there goes the unstoppable force, and manages to land on Darien, so he's going to respawn underneath this tower. Tower aggro has been dropped, and because, of course, that unstoppable is now gone, Darien picks up, in fact, Alexich picks up the kill. The ultimate is now going. Expect it. He knows that the ward is there. Forced backwards, in fact. Seeing Diamond Prox coming up from the river, but the game just feels like Moscow 5 is in the driving seat. Yeah, gold is even. Yes, it's 3-3, whereas even as we're going to be, bar for the 1 tower advantage. But Moscow 5 are making the plays, Moscow 5 are making the moves, and like I said, they're setting the pace.
A lot of the deaths and kills for Fnatic are because of Moscow 5. And for Moscow 5, a lot of their deaths are because of Moscow 5.
Yeah.
Like, they are in the driving seat. They are coordinating all the action. And while they are actually equal in gold, Fnatic isn't playing to control the game. Moscow 5 is. So even if they do die, it's certainly what they were not trying to do, but it is a result of what they were trying to do. And because of that, that's why it looks like it's in their favor right now. Which is weird because, overall it isn't. But some of the experience is huge. Darien level 10 versus level 8 Soaz. We mentioned this matchup before. Soaz, if he falls behind, is going to be in a pretty bad position. And he's fallen behind. The ultimate down to bot lane to get that kill on the Kog'Maw or to Ghost Pepper was nice. And great for Lamia, but it set himself back quite a bit. Ahri has not been showing too much pressure anywhere. And even with that massive roaming going on from Zillion, hitting top lane twice, he doesn't actually have more farm. Well, cut up as I said that.
So sitting bang on even, but when you consider 2 ganks in the top lane, even is not what you're looking for. I do feel it needs to be pointed out, just watching the way the abilities are being tossed out from Peke, and the fact that I actually haven't seen him playing Ahri too often, maybe not as practiced on the Nine-Tailed Fox as some of his other AP mids.
This is something that happens actually very often to all teams. They'll see a character and that character's really good. And it's open, but you don't play her that much, whatever. She's strong enough, I can, work with it. And the truth is, no, sometimes you can't.
And once again, huge aggression on this bottom lane. Exhaust goes up, the Stand United comes out, goes to Pepper once again, the victim of a taunt, tries to channel that Absolute Zero. Gets off a pretty good duration on it, to be honest, and it's going to be enough to scare Lamia away, so Soaz picks up the kill credit for that one. And a champion that's behind, giving him a little bit of advantage that is going to help. What do you think about the mid to late game? We've been seeing this gameplay, we've been seeing Moscow 5 making the plays, they've managed to pick up the kills, they've also managed to give up the kills, but, we're going to see Malphite falling off a little bit, we're going to see Lee Sin falling off a little bit later. but so does Zillion. You know, Zillion, if the longer the game goes, transitions from being an AP damage dealer to being a bit more of a utility, almost supporty type champion.
Now, that would be an issue if there wasn't a Jax and Kog'Maw on Moscow 5. So it's a very good composition. They have an late early game with Zillion, with Lee Sin. This goes into a good mid game where all of their characters are frankly good mid game, unless they're just really far behind, which isn't the case. And then late game, all right, so you know Zillion will be more of a supporty type character, as there's a lot more, and I have to mute my mic.
And we do see, ooh, it's going to be muting that one. So now we see a little bit of pressure coming out. That sounded like a lawnmower in the background. Is going to be enough pressure from Fnatic to scare away Moscow 5 from this Dragon. Pink ward is down on behalf of M5, so they're going to know if any other wards go down in Vision or whatnot. But at the moment, we're just waiting for everybody to move past. It's got this little bit of a Mexican standoff, as it were. Both teams wanting to push for Dragon, both teams wanting to try to pick it up, but not wanting to give up the fight, not wanting to give up more pressure or more positioning than they need to. So luckily, Lamia's been able to farm up this bottom lane. We see a couple more pings now going down into Dragon, and it's just going to be which team is willing to commit first. In fact, we see Kog'Maw clearing out the ward, so that was what I mentioned a few moments ago. That pink ward going to give them vision, going to allow them control of that, and now we see Fnatic. Oh, this could pay off well. We got a 5-man Fnatic in on Dragon. Moscow 5 is now split off. Moscow 5 is now rotated all the way around. You know, almost out of position. Jax is now in the mid lane, and at the moment, Fnatic staying a little bit further ahead in gold. But Genji the one who's now able to farm, and once again, neither team willing to commit. Neither team willing to actually pull that Dragon and really go for the kill. Another ward being removed. So just this small standoff, this small little bit of a delay in the proceedings of the game. Diamond Prox tosses out that Hadouken of his, the Sonic Wave. I think he was trying to line up Dragon, or at least leash Dragon, just try to pull it out a little bit. Another very good ward comes out. That's just going to give them, let them know when Fnatic are coming up. Iron Will used to get to that ward, block some of the damage. Now they've put some DPS down. They can see the vision from the rest of the team. But I think if Fnatic can respond quickly, they may be able to pick this one up. Diamond Prox with that Wriggles Lantern is soloing Dragon right now, level 9. There is no vision. Cyanide is going to put a ward down very shortly. There it goes. Are we going to see a potential steal? He is going to steal, and he managed to get it. So nicely, and not only steals it, but he flashes out. Wow, wow, wow. That was huge. Counter-Strike doesn't land, and do we have a studio back?
The studio is back. I closed the window. Is it more of a hedge trimmer, actually, than a lawnmower? Still very noisy.
Close enough, close enough. But did you see the steal? Did you see that steal?
That was an amazing steal. That was amazing. Do you know how hard it is for Lee Sin to not get the last hit on Dragon? That execution is massive, and Cyanide came in at the perfect moment, just said, yo, what up, I'm Malphite, and left.
Keep in mind, that's the second steal that we've seen already. Cyanide pulled off a steal in the previous game on Baron buff as Maokai. You know, he didn't get away with his life that time round, but yeah, such a great steal. And then it actually gives Fnatic the small gold lead. They're now up to about a 2k gold lead. And that gold is now going to help out just a little bit. Give Cyanide a little bit more assist. Sorry, give Soaz a little bit more assistance in that top lane. But look at his items: 83 CS to 140 CS behind. That is a huge, huge advantage.
It's very odd looking at the lanes because right now the gold advantage is actually in favor of Moscow or of Fnatic. But like we said before, the game feels like it's in Moscow 5's control as we watch this. And looking at where the gold is, there's a lot of gold onto Zillion, Kog'Maw, and Jax. And, you know, quite a bit of gold actually onto Corki and Ahri, but Shen is behind, Malphite's behind, and Soraka. The person who does not have a lot of gold right now for Moscow 5 is going to be that Lee Sin.
Well, you just made mention of who's behind. Let's actually look at how the numbers pan out. So in the top lane, Soaz, 4,700 to 5,600 on Darien. Compliments of that Dragon and the kill and the assist. It's not actually as significant as I may have thought. In the mid lane, we do see some pressure going down to Soaz and a huge collection of Fnatic champions. Spirit Rush used to get over the wall. Soaz is going to try land that, or Darien rather, going to try land that Counter-Strike. Doesn't manage to do so. Xpeka keeps trying, does manage to get queued up from Lee Sin. Resonating Strike flying all the way through the air. Ignite actually blown. Darien thinking that his teammates are going to be able to get there a little bit quicker. Unstoppable forces available. The charm manages to land, and look at that damage. Cyanide not really wanting the fight, so he was on the wrong side of the tree line. And if he was closer, if he could have landed that unstoppable force, it could have picked up a kill.
Hmm. I don't think they expected the blue still coming in still, despite the fact that they've been spotted. But with that Lee Sin Jax combination, especially the Wriggles Lantern actually on Lee Sin, uh, blue buff has no chance of surviving for more than 5 seconds. So an aggressive play and a flash for a blue buff, is it worth it? Well, maybe. I wouldn't say it's something I want to consistently do, but it's nice to find that blue buff into Arya. It gives Alex a lot of lane control when he has that mana to spam and she doesn't.
Let's have another quick look at their golds. We were looking at the numbers before the team fight erupted. Ari, 6,100 gold. In fact, 600 ahead of Zillion, who's on 5,500. So that's a pretty interesting one. Of course, there is a 20 CS advantage, so that's probably where some of the numbers are coming from. In terms of our bottom lane, 5,800 to 5,600. So small advantages here and there. It's only really Shen that's behind. And the team fights and everything, once again, it's all in Moscow 5's favor. Fnatic, the longer they buy time, the more effective Ari's going to become, and Corki, and Shen, of course. But on the flip side, so is Kog'Maw. We do see this bait coming out. There goes the Valkyrie forward. The taunt is available. Does not actually get used until he can line up really, really well. And I like what I see in there from Fnatic. They are going to keep pushing forward onto Ghost Pepper. The charm is only available in a couple of seconds. Final tick of Spirit Rush used, but Blood Boil flash too strong. And I like the timing there. You actually watch Soaz waiting, delaying for a second and going, no, I don't want to toss out that taunt until I know it's going to land. And Genji as well, saving his flash and saving his heal, knowing he's going to go down. So great play all around, and one kill for Fnatic.
Mm-hmm. And as you said, he didn't use his heal, didn't use his flash. It's actually something I would talk about, but knowing how to lose a situation properly, how to use that flash and heal while he's in a bad situation the next time to get into an engagement. But now he's at least going to have those summoners up as a 3,400 gold lead actually in favor of Fnatic right now. They're really showing some good pressure. Even though they didn't have the control, now they're applying their control, they're applying themselves, and it's working. They're taking out the spot tower, they're trying to grow their gold lead. Diamond Pro's trying to do something, but really can't.
He's going to think about committing to this fight, though. The charm manages to land on Genja, but there's no one else committing. Now X-Peck is the one that's been caught out of the fight. Lamia and Philox running away. Miscommunication on Fnatic's part. That sounded like a summoner heal being used as well, so that's coming out from Genja to save Gosu Pepper's life. Lamia is now on the back on the retreat. Tempest goes down. Diamond Prox using that Iron Will to stay alive, as well as the Chrono Shift, and Soaz being really, really smart, forcing himself out over to the left-hand side of the tree line, giving up his life, but saving Lamia and Philox in the process. And Fnatic setting it up, but maybe hanging around a little bit longer than they should have. Yes, they had the advantage. Yes, they could push down the tower, but you know, you could just feel something was going to happen. You could just feel someone was coming, especially with Lee Sin tossing out those resonating strikes through the wall.
That was a good push. They took out 2 turrets. They did pick up Kog'Maw. What would have meant that a great push would be if they, were able to retreat, not give up anything for it. So 2 seconds can be all that was. If Lee Sin hadn't actually gotten that resonating strike, if they backed up 2 seconds earlier, it would have made it out of there, been perfectly fine. Fortunately, it didn't happen. But I mean, that's kind of one of the scary things about this game. It's really hard to judge situations. It's hard to say, all right, we can hang around for 2.5 seconds, and at that point it becomes a risk. No, you don't know that for sure. You can make assumptions, but assumptions only go so far, and of course, they're never 100% accurate. That's why they're assumptions.
And here's a little anecdote that I always remember. When you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. So it's just one to remember. I do also want to give mad props to everybody that's joined us on stream. We are the #1 rated LoL stream at the moment. This is IPL qualifier semi-final time. Fnatic taking on Moscow 5. Fnatic are 1 game down. And of course, your shoutcasters, myself, Quickshot, and Studio. And now we see Darien jumps forward, eats a charm to the face. This may in fact be him going down. Spirit Rush is available. He's going to go out. And the Unstoppable Force actually used to pick him up. Chrono Shift just unavailable for cooldown. But was that a dragon picked up from Moscow 5? I didn't actually see what they were doing in the bottom half of the tower.
Let me check. Yes.
So it was in fact picked up. So trading a kill for dragon, technically speaking, that's a fair trade any day of the week. But if it cost them a tower as well, I would say Fnatic come out superior in this particular engage or trade.
They come out a little bit ahead, not that much, but the map control is there. Dragon is not super relevant at this point in the game. The gold lead is actually just kind of too big for that to make that much of a dent. And these turrets falling is going to be much scarier now that Baron is becoming a threat. The rest of the map needs to be secured by Moscow 5.
Pretty good damage going down as this interior turret, down to less than half life. But now that Darien is alive, he's going to be moving his way back into this middle lane as quickly as possible. And remember, guys, this is all on Fnatic. If they lose this game, they are out of this qualifiers. But if they win, we do go to game number 3. And that's what we're hoping for. That's definitely what we're looking forward to. And I think the next big team fight probably around Baron. I mean, we're hitting that point. Teams are very, very strong. They've both actually got pretty... I think Moscow 5 side is slightly more effective at taking out Baron. Well, actually, a lot more effective. When you consider Cogmore and Jax. Yeah, I just looked at the champions. I'm like, yes, my bad. Way faster at taking out Baron. Fnatic, they can, but just not the same.
They could probably take out Baron in about, I want to say, 8 seconds with their current lineup, especially if they have Nunu tank for as long as he possibly can, which is terrifying to think about, by the way. But I mean, that is the strength of having a team that's based off attack speed and physical damage. You can kill Baron in like nothing. That's all it takes, nothing.
Especially when you consider Blood Boil on Cogmore with Bio Arcane Barrage. Now we do see a bit of a fight going down into Diamond Proc. Shen Stand United is available. He's going to be going over. Are we going to see a Stand United down onto Pekka? It may actually take place. Ignite is now down, so that's going to be the kill onto Lee Sin up in the top lane. A taunt lands onto Genja. That's going to keep him save Pekka's life. Second kill now going in the way of Fnatic. Goes to Pimpers is going to be the third one to fall, potentially in the background. The Kithian surprise is going to be enough to pick up the Nine-Tailed Fox. And Alexic locked up and stunned, knocked into the air as well as taunted for long enough to not get his chrono shift off. And that is a brilliant, brilliant exchange for Fnatic. 3 for 1, and it opens up Baron.
Now, while M5 can do Baron and nothing, they need to be alive to do so, and Fnatic definitely gonna take a little longer, but being alive will help them quite a bit. So, is Baron going down? Fnatic, they're showing their control this game, they're showing their strength, they are taking the initiative and they are making the plays, and it is working. I'm glad they transitioned from that early game kind of odd slump, but here comes Darien. Can he 1v4?
Darien is thinking about it. Exhaust is put down immediately. 1v4 with Baron's help may be possible, but right now a little bit of split focus. Darien's going to be able to pick up a kill onto Soaz. Felox is there. He does have Astral Blessing available in a couple of seconds. Baron is still bashing away. Committing 1v4 is maybe going to go down. One more. Banana actually picks it up. Banana's too strong. Riot, I hope you're watching. That needs a nerf. Resonating Strike chases all the way over into Lamia. A beautiful Dragon's Rage kick knocks back 2 of the Fnatic champions. Xpeke has now joined the fight. Spirit Rush is available. I think he has 1 proc left available. He's not actually going to use it. And now, because they are so slow at Baron, this now opens it up for Moscow 5. And if M5 pick this up, they're back in the game.
The chrono shift was not used by Alexic in that last exchange, so they can play aggressive. Xpeke actually just dying to Genja. The time bomb finishes him off. So much pressure and attack speed coming out. When that Malphite debuff is not on Cogma, when that Blood Boil is just raging on Genja, he does so much damage. Baron, how low is Baron right now?
5,000.
That's 5,000 HP. You call it, I'll just call the Baron HP. Diamond Proc's actually super...
So nicely done. Look at that. Chrono Shift being used to bring Diamond Procs back to more life than he had previously. 3 ranks into that one. And we do also see now Cyanide thinking about the steal. They are so scared of the steal. In the background, Lamia has now gone down. They've turned their attentions onto Felox. Baron is still alive. Someone kill this worm. He's still running around. In fact, Soaz is now trying to commit to this fight onto Alex that she knows the chrono shift is down, or at least he should. In the background, we see now Malphite's or Cogmore effect being picked up. I don't even know what is going on. There is too much to look at. Gosu Pepper's going to go down to a Vorpal Blade. Baron is still alive. Soaz and Felox are going to pick up a kill. Baron goes to Moscow 5. Balana going out. That's not going to be enough to actually pick up the kill. The Dragon's Rage followed up. The Shadow Dash taunt. Double kill for Darien. And I'm not being funny, but I'm just brain dead. I have no idea what just happened. That is the longest Baron fight I have ever seen in my life. There was so much pressure. Now Pekka is going to go down in the mid lane.
Okay, that was Pekka not expecting them to still come back, but what just... Alright, so from what I can tell, they brought down Baron low. As that happened, Cyanide went around to the back. They're getting pressured by Lamia right now, but should be able to get out freely.
Well, if he gets a few little slows from that, Phage Ignite goes down, Phosphorus Bomb. Oh, the Iron Will Shield, 97 hit points. It's going to keep him alive. Valkyrie is available in a few seconds, but those Phage procs so strong. Going to keep chasing. Iron Will's going to be up and get to safety. Now, Lamia is the one that may be in trouble. My word, I have no idea what I am watching, but this game is phenomenal.
Okay, that fight. Sinai went around back to try and steal Baron, but then Moscow 5 killed off of Baron because Sinai was in the back, he couldn't fight. As it went down, they got the 2 kills onto Lamia and I believe Soaz at that moment. No, I'm not sure. They killed someone. They killed Lamia for sure. And so they rotated back towards Baron. At that point, other people started showing up though. Cyanide got caught out in the back by Alex Ich, and Cyanide right now has only 139 magic resist. I think that's actually new, that Negatron cloak, so he went down quickly. As it happened, they killed Baron, and actually Cyanide will get hit by the resonating strike.
Cyanide's going to get blown up so quickly. I think that was an unstoppable force used to knock Diamond Prox up. Yes, it was. Hold him in place just for a couple of seconds. Now, Soaz is committed to this fight. Absolute Zero is now being channeled. That's going to be the first kill into Soaz. Next one to fall will most likely be Pekka. There's so much mobility abilities, and a long-range Hadouken into flying kick. He's going to pick up the kill. Diamond Prox closes that one out. A game that was 5,000 gold behind for Moscow 5 is now 700 gold ahead. Baron's been picked up. We've seen the longest fights all over. And if I'm honest, I would go so far as to say it's almost sloppy. You know, there's so much going on. Neither team is grouping up. Neither team is pushing as a unit. They're sort of going in individually and being caught out and costing their lives.
Neither team has had an Oracles this game, or if they had, it's been for a very brief amount of time, and it shows. Both teams are just playing like there aren't wards on the map, and there are a massive amount of wards on the map. All of them in the same spot, actually, for both teams. Like, they have very similar vision. And it's just a very odd playstyle, but it's coming out in favor of, right now, Moscow 5, because they have a better team for catching people. They just deal more damage and have a bunch of gap flows on everybody, pretty much.
And of course, the reincarnation ability from Zilean, you know, the longer this game goes, the scarier they're going to become. A taunt does land to Darien, but he's not going to get blown up very easily. Soaz is most likely going to go down in the background. Diamond Prox is now committed quite aggressively. Iron Will's available in 2 seconds. He does, in fact, flash over the wall. And yeah, that Charmer to Darien's not really going to be the one you need to blow up. The problem is, you blow someone up, they just come right back. While we've got a momentary gap here, take a look at itemization. Trinity Force completed on Jax, followed up immediately by the Warmogs. Zeke's Herald on Nunu. We've got the Abyssal Scepter and the Rod of Ages on Zilean. Needlessly large rod. Counterparts as well. Abyssal Scepter on Ari. Frozen Heart sitting on Malphite. And I definitely feel like we need to see a Randian's Omen at some point. You need to be able to kite, slow that movement speed more and more, and try to give your team the advantage in a team fight.
Anything to reduce the damage coming out of Moscow 5 right now. Look how fast his turret does.
So high. So we do see this engagement going on. Cyanide forced backwards. Those time bombs chunking down the Fnatic members. They cannot stay on this tower. They did manage to clear the wave pretty effectively, but those time bombs are just hitting so hard. Counter-Strike is going to lock up both, lock up Soaz. Charm is going to pull Darren away, but that's not the reason. The unstoppable force goes up. Now they're going to try to commit to this fight. Reincarnation has been used on Genji, and great split focus. They're no longer attacking Kog'Maw. They're going to wait for it to bear off. Now that the ability is worn off, Cyanide is the first one to go down. Darien is low. Genji is low. Gosu Pepper is low. Lamia flashes forward. Valkyrie is only available in a few seconds' time. And Moscow 5 get away with their lives. Fnatic just not quick enough to get into a position to pick up those kills, but they have the damage to do it.
Look at the right side of the screen. What color is it?
I hear Command & Conquer Red Alert 2. Bah, bah, bah.
They are flashing red. They are almost all done. That was amazing split focus on Kog'Maw, like you mentioned. But just, they need to get into that good positioning. And it's weird to say it, but that engagement, that inhibitor went down, or not inhibitor, but that inhibitor turret went down because of time bombs. That was all Zilean harass that brought them low. It was not the AD, it was the magic damage, which when you look at Moscow 5's lineup, you don't really think about it. It's there, but it's not that high. And that is just, you know, terrifying that they're actually getting poked down. They need to recuperate, they need to kind of get their head a bit back into that game. After that weird engagement, it makes sense that nobody is really consistent right now. But they did pick up in Oracles. They're going to try and get that map control back. Wards have more or less died out, and that's a good thing. So for Fnatic, they can now get that map control back. They can now get that vision.
Now, talking about map control really quickly, you know, those first sort of 20 minutes of the game, it felt like the game was in favor of Moscow 5. It felt like they were making the plays, they were setting things up. It swung back in favor of Fnatic for a period of time. But now it's gone right back to M5. You know, they're making every single play, they're committing to every single fight, and they're catching Fnatic out of position and off guard every single time. You know, Fnatic need to pick an engagement that is actually going to work for them. And take a look at itemizations now. Cogmore, 247 CS. Last Whisper, Phantom Dance, Infinity Edge. In comparison to a Bloodthirster Trinity Force on Corki. You know, a full... you know, it's a bit of a cut and paste. You want to say the sustain is there, which Cogmore does not have, but he doesn't need sustain because he just gets brought back to life. Compliments of Zilean.
So, I mean, that Zillion pick, there's actually a lot of cool item picks that they haven't made because of Zillion. So, they don't have a referee on their team.
Although Zeke's Herald is going to play.
Zeke's Herald was they got instead. So, they don't need that referee. They're getting Zeke's instead. That's a great pickup. We're actually going to see Nunu pick up Aranduin's Omen because it's going to be more important to slow the enemy team rather than just speed up your own team because they have enough speed buffs as is. They're playing well. They're using this cool line. I've seen them do this once before, and it works really well once you get to this point in the game. Moscow 5, they're going to be out of control very quickly. It doesn't take a lot of time for this lineup to just be insane and unstoppable. Look how fast Baron is going to die as they're doing it.
Oh, look at the engagement coming out. Diamond Prox has now jumped all the way onto Pique. Fellox taken so much damage from those time bobs. They did pull away from Baron, so it was respawning for a small period of time. It's now going down so rapidly. 4,000, 2,000, 1,000. That's it immediately reduced. Baron buff on now Moscow 5. They managed to land the Voidus. That is huge. If they can get another slow, that Blood Boil on Gosu Pepper, he's chasing. Snowball goes out. That is now Stand United use. And in the background, Unstoppable Force goes up. The first one to fall is most likely going to be Lamia. He gets a Dragon Rage kick in the background. It is in fact going to be Cyanide, then followed up by Lamia. Now they've turned their attention to Pique. A double kill for Darian. He's going to keep chasing. There goes Counter-Strike. He's going to try lock somebody up. Does land it onto Fairlox. That is going to be... was going to be triple kill. But Alexich, he wanted to get in and amongst the fun. Chrono Shift is most likely going to be used into Darian if Zilean can get close enough. But he cannot, and this might be GG. 35 seconds on the clock. Moscow 5, an inhibitor down. Creeps to play with in this middle lane in a few seconds' time. And they may be able to pick this one up.
Has Moscow 5 played in an American event?
No, they have not actually played in a US event to my knowledge. The first one was IEM Kiev, and then of course following it up with a couple of the European ones. So yeah, I think this may be their first. Sorry. No,
yeah, no, because they're one.
They have a final. They have a final to win before they qualify for IPL5.
So yeah, this game is going to go to Moscow 5 unless Sonic can make a really good play right now. Nope.
And that's it. Game number 2 goes to Moscow 5. They qualify for the grand final, and they will face off against Team Megashock tomorrow at 8 p.m. But before I say anything, just so you guys know, in 55 minutes time, there is going to be another game up on the stream, which is going to be Team Dignitas versus Team Solo Mid Evo. That's going to be in 45 minutes. But right now, I mean, Studio, what else can we say about the game?
I think that's at Pacific Standard Time, the Dignitas and Evo.
Yeah, it's 8 p.m., isn't it? Oh, wait, hang on.
It's like 1 a.m.
1 a.m. Sorry, my bad. I was lying to you. It's in 8 hours time, or 4 hours time, whatever it is. It's 1 a.m. for the next game. But yeah, guys, so Moscow 5 take out Fnatic 2-0 in the semi-final of this IPL5 qualifier. My name is Quickshot, that's QU1KSH0T. And if you guys want to keep track or follow me, you can check me out on Facebook, facebook.com/Quickshot. And Studio, how can the guys find you?
Well, they can go to leagueofstudio.com where I do a little web series and check out some of my vids. If not, you can always go ahead and follow me on Twitter at League of Studio. And I gotta say, this was just an awesome series. Those were so cool to watch.
Yeah, it was great games. The first one, Moscow 5 really sort of in charge of it, but the second game, it swung back and forth so often. And that Baron fight is quite possibly the most drawn-out Baron fight I've ever seen in the history of League of Legends.
I'm going to look for that replay like 3 times just to see what happened, because I'm still not sure. There are a few things that I can kind of guess, but we've already made that a statement about assumptions.
Yeah, exactly. So guys, that is going to be us wrapping up for the day. There's going to be a couple hours before the next game. I'm sure there's going to be a rerun of the proper countdown timer, which Nick Allen will most likely throw up very shortly. Thanks, Nick. Make sure you guys head over to Twitter and to Facebook and follow both myself and Studio. It keeps us coming back. The support is fantastic and awesome. The grand final is going to be Moscow 5 versus Team Megashock tomorrow at 8 p.m. Central European Time. Hat Person and the Red Baron are going to be bringing you that match. So until then, guys, it's been a pleasure. I am going to start wrapping up for the evening. So before I do, one short advert break and some music to keep you entertained. Studio, it's been a pleasure, dude.
It's always fun casting you with your quick shot. Actually, we're really hoping these would be more like long shot games, but I tried to make a bad pun.
Yeah, I got it. I got it.
All right.
Cheers, studio, and cheers everybody on stream.